I'm going to explain the concept of steel manning. This is a cognitive tool that you can use in your intellectual toolkit. First, a recap. So I wanted to go over the first video, which was an overview of the purpose and goal of Bayesian thinking. Of course, the main goal always is to update your priors. In other words, update your beliefs. And so I wanted to remind you of the principles of Bayesian thinking. The first is to kind of take a scientific approach to your beliefs or your priors, to always challenge any premise or assumption that you have with new information and evidence. We should always never believe anything to be 100% true if we want to become better thinkers. Again, the goal of the class and the goal of the first video, as a reminder, is we need to constantly update our beliefs or our priors. Now, we were reminded in the second video, just as a review, that we have some really bad mental habits. We constantly practice confirmation bias. This is the unconscious habit of seeking out information to affirm our prior beliefs. Now, just take a moment to pause and stop and think about how you actually collide with social media, your mind. If you are like me, you really enjoy and prefer information on social media that affirms a prior or a belief, even if it is not true. And you really dislike information that contradicts it. So as a reminder, video number 2 was on confirmation bias, this mental habit of always trying to seek out information to affirm a belief that we want to be true. The next video, video number 3, as a reminder, was a video on motivated reasoning. So when your mind is affirming a prior or a belief with information that it likes, it is playing the confirmation bias game. Now, when your mind collides with information that contradicts a beloved belief, and it aggressively rejects it, it is now playing the motivated reasoning game. Just as a reminder, what is motivated reasoning? It is emotion-based reasoning, or it's a habit of mind that actively and oftentimes angrily rejects any new information that contradicts a deeply held belief. So, yikes, how do we overcome this habit pattern of the mind of practicing confirmation bias and motivated reasoning? How do we become better evidence-based thinkers? Well, the solution and the goal of this video today is to learn a trick or a technique, which is called steel manning. So what is steel manning? Well, steel manning is the mental habit of seeking the best counter-argument that challenges a deeply held prior or belief, and then to consider it with intellectual honesty. Again, the desired goal is to become a better, non-dogmatic thinker. So, class, I'm very lucky because I have an audience that's going to help here today. So, watch a practice round of steel manning. So, let's help Donald Trump. Donald Trump tweeted, this was now a bunch of years ago now, but he tweeted, the concept of global warming was created by and for the Chinese in order to make US manufacturing non-competitive. Now, class, with me is an audience of willing participants. And luckily, they're going to help Donald Trump become a better evidence-based thinker in real time. So I'm going to ask the participants if you could come up with just maybe a couple or a few arguments that you might know in your mind that might help Donald Trump become a more evidence-based thinker. Would anybody be willing to share one perspective? Or argument?
I can share one thing.
Please.
That we've seen recently in the last couple of years. We've seen more frequent and stronger typhoons and hurricanes during the usual sort of weather seasons. For example, in the Philippines, we just saw a super typhoon followed by 2 more typhoons. So it could be an indication that global warming is actively showing up in our weather patterns.
Excellent, thank you. Now, again, this is just the practice of steel manning, and this is just a kind of a, an overview of what it would look like if we had Donald Trump in the room with us. One argument we would say is that, hey, listen, you might think this is a hoax, but we've seen more frequent and widespread typhoons over the past bunch of years. Maybe you should consider that as a piece of evidence to challenge your beliefs. Are there any other ones that we can think of?
I have a fact that I brought up on the internet here.
Great.
All but one of the 16 hottest years in NASA's 134-year record have occurred since 2000. So we're heating up, and we're heating up fast.
Okay. Actually, let me reframe this. We are heating up and heating up fast, right? And then you back that up with some facts, right? That comes from different sources. So, right, we've seen this incredible increase of climate, and the Earth is warming. And so that's a fact that we know that we've learned from science. Are there any other ones, just briefly, and then we can close off the session that you can think of?
Just to back up Kayla's point, the ice sheet is melting, which lead to rise in ocean water and warmer ocean water as well. Sorry, Jen, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Thank you very much.
Not at all. That's exactly what I was going to say as well. Rising oceans.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your participation. This was just a little practice round for this video on steel manning. And that is what we're going to practice in this class moving forward. We're going to practice articulating a belief and then seeking out as much evidence and counter perspectives as possible in order to become a better evidence-based thinker. Now, we just helped Donald Trump. I don't know if he'll consider these views, but that is what a person must do to become a better thinker. Thank you very much.